What's going on, everybody? My name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. We have a special guest today, Miss Kera Dangerous of Kera Dangerous Talks. It's one of the best podcasts out right now. I will admit she has some really great and entertaining guests. Kera, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good now. Kera Dangerous Talk. You have a lot of great guests, but before we get into your show, just Kara, tell me about yourself. How you got into this media game, and how you got to podcasting, and like I said, that list of great guests and great topics that you all cover.
Well, you know what? I always been into the entertainment since a child. Went to college for it. Went to an entertainment school, Full Sail. When I got out of college, I started right away at the local news station.
Mm-hmm.
Worked for ESPN in a studio production for over 11 years. CNN for a year, and I had the opportunity to do my own show on the largest, well, actually the number one largest independent black owned streaming network, Never
Mm.
Level TV. So my second season appeared on Never Leveled, and for my third season, I can't wait for it to come back. Hopefully, more details coming soon. But Care Dangerous Talk, like you said, is my show, and it's all about uplifting brown people, inspiring everyone, and just really the idea that we are Black history happening constantly, happening every day. And I just want to bring light to some of the truths, because so much of our history has been hidden or whitewashed, or a lot of us don't really know about it, unless we teach ourselves it, because it's not really being taught to us in schools. So I just wanted to make sure I brought some great guests for you guys to be able to, just get motivated from, and learn a lot from what they've been through. And so far, I've been able to just keep that going, and getting great feedback from people like you just gave me just now.
Hey, it's awesome. Hey, I'm always here to give someone their props, their flowers, however you want to call it, right to their face. And I know I've watched your show. I've seen way before I even connected with you. I saw your stuff with Dr. Boyce and with Chris Broussard and Judge Joe Brown. I think those were the three that I know for a fact that I saw. And then I went to your website and saw people like Jonathan Coachman and a bunch of other different people. So it's really awesome to see you out here on this Black independent media grind. Kara, I want to ask you, when you were working for places like ESPN and CNN and all those other places, did you ever think that you'd be in this space? Is this where you wanted to be the entire time, or how did that go?
Absolutely. I love telling people this story because it's inspiration in there. And, so many days, I said I spent 11 years at ESPN. It was a lot of challenges there, but it was a lot that I learned. But, even though I was behind the camera, when I was growing up, I watched MTV like everybody. I saw
Mm-hmm.
the VJs and how popular they were and all the fun they got to have. And also my local news station, Channel 13, that I was able to work for. Once I got out of college, there was a great anchor by the name of Tina Hicks who really inspired me. She was just so classy, professional, and she really knew her stuff. So, you know what? Even though my main goal was to do music, that love for I guess journalism and storytelling never left me. I'm a big literature girl. I love reading books, and trying to analyze the meaning of what's going on in the books and whatnot. But just taking all that, you know yeah, I think that I had a belief that this is something that I could be doing. But I believe, over the last couple of years, I think starting with 2019, I really started to put these pieces together,
Mm-hmm.
especially right before COVID, and seeing all the protests that was happening when I was in New York. It really just made me even more passionate about what was going on socially, and all the injustices that were happening to Black people with the police brutality and all the issues that was going on there. So I said, you know what? Let me start doing my own show right there in my apartment. And I mean, just answer your question even further, I would always get people that'll say, hey, you look like you could be on TV. Your name sounds like a person who would be on TV. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, you know, it all circles back around. And
Yeah.
sometimes, you hear people tell you, you have your own plan, but God always has a better plan. And so you can have your own ideas, but let me tell you something, the idea that God has for you, that's the one that's going to happen.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Once again, we're talking to Kera Dangerous of Kera Dangerous Talk, Kera Dangerous Live. You can check out her website right there at keradangeroustalk.com. That's keradangeroustalk.com. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Now, Kera, some of the topics that you cover, like you said, range from sports and entertainment, music, to what's taking place with Black people, just all around. One of the things, the biggest thing out right now that has happened in the Black community is the Ahmaud Arbery trial. We see that these men down in Georgia, the suspected white supremacists, some would say, down in Georgia, have been found guilty. Just tell me if you've been following along with the trial at all, and what were your thoughts seeing the guilty verdict with the Ahmaud Arbery trial?
Absolutely. That was one of those cases that really pulled on my heartstrings, especially, at the beginnings of it. We have this young Black male, just jogging through a neighborhood, a part of his neighborhood, and the audacity of someone to stop him and harass him it's just mind blowing. Not too mind blowing for me because, I didn't grow up too far from where he's from. I grew up in Macon, Georgia. And let me tell you, I had my own dealings with racism myself. So it does exist, and it is still in Georgia. Let me tell you. And so, what can you say about that? I mean, how many of us have seen an abandoned house when you were growing up or whatever, and you maybe want to look at the structure of the house, or, go through it, not necessarily a big deal. The things that they tried to bring out in this case to say that this young man deserved to die was just ridiculous, and trying to say he grabbed the gun and all this. He was just in his own Black skin, minding his own Black business, his own human business. Let's bring it back way down so they can understand if you don't want to make it a race issue. He was minding his own human business, and for him not to be able to be safe, just to do something that's one of the safest things you can do, just jog, where you go to, what do you do to have a peace of mind? I mean, how many days have I just taken a walk just to clear my mind and to think doing something so leisure you could lose your life? You know, that's crazy. That's crazy. And to me, when you watch those, I call them the Three Stooges. Okay, I don't even really know their names, but you should say their names because they need
Mm-hmm.
to be known. I'll let you say it. I call them the Three Stooges because they look really dumb and idiotic, and they are that. But it seemed like they did their best to clean them up. But let me tell you, I'm so glad that in this case, that did not work. They even tried to sniffle and make a few tears drop. But in
Yeah.
this case, that did not work. Thank God we got a little bit of justice here this year for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once again, we're talking to Kera Dangerous of Kera Dangerous Talk. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. And like you said, it's definitely a good day to see those three individuals go to prison for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. Speaking, I mean, I hate to stay depressing, but speaking of deaths and recent deaths, we saw the slain. Now, Kara, you mentioned that you do music. You make hip hop songs, you make hip hop music, you write lyrics, you do all that kind of stuff. And we recently saw the tragic passing and murder of young Dolph down in Memphis. Just from that, what took place with young Dolph, what is your take on that? And what is your take on the current state of hip hop music?
That's a big question. I think one thing I want to make clear here is that a couple of things is that the power of the tongue. First of all, we have to take responsibility for our own actions as well as some other people's actions. I have to say, in a lot of Young Dolph music, he was speaking a lot of death and sacrificing his life. And whether or not that was fiction, we do know Words can be like spells, okay? So you want to try to keep them as positive as possible. Yeah, it's entertainment, but when you're putting yourself into that music that you're writing, it takes a life of its own. And a lot of his imagery for his albums and a lot of his lyrics for his recent music, especially, has been, I guess some people will call it a little bit of conspiracy talk, the showing of the one eye and throwing up the triangle sign with your hands and all these different things. So, throwing out these kind of these demonic images and just kind of confusing people with what your message is really not a good look. And then on top of that, we know that in the past, young Dolph has talked about living a life of being in the streets. And I just caught an episode of Breakfast Club he did some years back, and he was explaining that his mother, his father, weren't really in his life. They were of the street as well, and he spent a lot of time with his grandmother. But because she's old, she couldn't really keep him and his brother out the streets because they're boys. It was a lot to contend with. So, he already had that past life, and he talked about how hard it is to move away from that. Even when you get a deal, and even when you say, hey, I'm a businessman now, I want to leave that life alone. You can want to leave it alone, but that doesn't mean that your peers and the people that you were dealing with in that life want to leave you alone. And we see this happen all the time. So not only was he speaking death into his life, unfortunately, sometimes when we make mistakes, they creep back into our life later. And then we have jealousy. Young Dolph, he, I think he lived back home in South Memphis, where he's from. Excuse me if I have the location wrong. I believe it's South and not North.
It's South Memphis,
yes, South Memphis. And I believe the cookie store where he was killed is in North Memphis. I think I'm correct in saying that. But everyone knew he was a regular at this shop whenever he came home. So to me, I wish he would have had some security. I mean, I think sometimes rappers get too safe going back home, but I think it's good for us to go back home. Naturally, for Black people, and I think in building wealth, we do want to see people who've made it come back into the neighborhoods and give back. We should be able to do that. He was doing the right things by coming back, giving out turkeys and having clothes drives, and you seen it. I mean, the neighborhood came out, the kids were crying. They looked at him as a local hero. But look, this is how the neighborhood treats him. I mean, let's just say this. Everyone's saying it looks like a hit. It does look like a hit. I mean, young Dolph, he knew the life he lived. And it's unfortunate. He has a wife. Some people call her his partner, but I believe that is his wife. And he definitely has children. And Key Glock is his cousin, another big rapper. And it's just a sad situation. A very talented young Black brother. And whether we're getting shot by white people or getting shot by ourselves, it's still a sad situation. And I hate to see any brother lose his life by the hands of violence. It's just not a good look. But we have to go back to, you live by the sword, so many times you die by the sword.
You are absolutely right about that, Kera. See, I have a love-hate relationship with hip-hop music because I love it so much, because it is an amazing genre. It tells the stories. It tells a lot of the truth, the stories of what takes place in American ghettos, where it takes place, where a lot of these people are from, what takes place, hell, where I was from, to a certain extent. So that's why I can resonate and connect with it so much. But at the same time, I see what it does to our people. I see what it does. I see that the only form of entertainment, or as far as entertainers, that literally are like police officers or someone who risk their life every single time they leave the door, isn't actors or country music singers or or journalists or people in media like us. It's rappers. It's rappers. They're the only form of entertainer that seems to literally be dying every other week, or be dying every week, or multiple a week, or what is it? I know you said it's the power of the tongue, but why is it that rappers are so targeted? Why is it that rappers are such in this demographic where we know that a few of them are going to die every year. Not a few, a lot, depending on how big, but even a few of the big ones are going to fatally die every single year.
Well, I think it goes back to that sword. I mean, the rappers that these record labels are picking are actual real thugs. And maybe I shouldn't use the word thug because I don't want to seem like I'm stereotyping us, but hey, they actually pick people who were of the streets. And that life follows them to the record label. Look, if I'm in the life and I decide to go to Florida for a trip, that doesn't mean I'm not in the life anymore. I'm just in Florida and I'm in the life there, so it's the same thing. Let's say a rock and roll star, they may not be getting shot, but we may see that rock and roll stars are dying from pills. I mean, opioids. So I think that in every genre, you may have an issue with whatever those people, whatever background they came from, whatever they were doing before they got to the record label, it follows them there. If you were a drug addict before you got signed, that's gonna follow you to the record label.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So, yeah, we harp on hip hop because culturally it's our music. I mean, I feel safe with saying that it's African American people music, or it's black
Absolutely.
People, or it's ADOS music, whatever. It's brown people's music. So yeah, I mean, if something's going on with country people, it may be, I don't know, but I'm just not that invested into it. I mean, that's our music too, don't get me wrong, but we have more people invested into hip hop. So that's where our concern lies. But I stated the other day that I think the record label should give these guys some guidance. And people were saying, "Oh, it's not the responsibility of the record label." But my goodness, if you're going to invest your money into somebody, why wouldn't you want to kind of guide them? I don't understand why that's such a thing that's frowned upon, and why I was getting so much backlash from that. I mean, I was getting more people that understood what I was saying, but it just makes sense to me. Don't you want to protect your investment?
Well, let me push back on that some, Kara, and maybe I'll get you the answer to this. Well, maybe the record label's intention is like a suicide bomber almost, to send these guys out there because they know in some cases, well, hell, in a lot of cases, especially the big time rappers, hell, when they die, they sell more records than when they're alive. We could check the Spotify charts, the iTunes charts, the Amazon Music charts, the Google Play charts, and I'm sure they're full with Young Dolph songs. Not to say Young Dolph didn't sell records when he was here. Young Dolph got plenty of gold and platinum records, but now his platinum records are like 2 and 3 times platinum, and his gold records are now platinum because he's dead. And just specifically speaking on Empire, I know I've seen this graphic. I'm pretty sure you've seen this graphic. The label the Young Dolph was associated with, signed to, it's an argument whether he's independent or signed or whatever. But Empire specifically has had a number of artists who were either signed or associated to them passed in the last like 2 to 3 years, from XX Tentacion, Mo 3, what's the guy from Chicago? Damn, I can't think of his name. Oh my God. With Lil Durk, King Von, and now Young Dolph. They're saying that the record labels essentially are helping the deaths of these artists. And to that you say what?
I don't know. I mean, if you look at the evidence, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, it's like hard to get up here and say a complete yes, because I mean, I don't know if you can get a lawsuit or whatever, but if you look at the evidence, it's just like it's very coincidental, right? But again, this was the life they were living prior. But I have to say this: all businessmen aren't built the same. Okay,
absolutely.
You hear this throughout the industry. Some people you get with, they're gonna screw you over. Some person you get with may look out for you, but more times than not, you're probably gonna get somebody that's gonna use you up. I mean, you can go through YouTube, you can watch a million different posts, and you can come up with some of the biggest artists talking about how they've been screwed in the music industry. So in saying that, you have to know going in that they probably won't have your back, or if they do have your back, it's going to be to a certain point. You're only good while you're good, and then they're looking for some new hot piece of meat to push out there. You have to remember now, I don't know the total statistics, but I can almost guarantee you out of 5 houses, you're probably going to get a household where at least one person in that house is going to say that they want to be a rapper. So what I'm trying to say is they're very replaceable. We can build this person up, but we can find another one. And before somebody comes in and say, well, it's not easy to make a superstar. No, it's not. But at this point, we do have a formula to how to make a superstar at this point. And
no, I'm agreeing 100% agreeing with you, because there are plenty of high mainstream artists, rappers, singers, whatever, that almost are like minstrel shows, but are promoted because of the way that they perform, act, or whatever, because of the things they say, because some of them are essentially promoting genocide to our community. And you say, oh, and like people that push back on you saying that, oh no, it's not easy to make a superstar. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. When you have the platform that the Apple Musics, the Spotify's, the Breakfast Club, the iHeartRadios, the whoever, when they put this person in front of your face for so often, so much, eventually people are gonna like them. Eventually, you're going to get a fan base. Eventually. So, yes, it is easy for these labels, for these whoever, to make a superstar. So, I completely agree with you on that, 100%. No, anybody saying it's not easy, you don't know what you're talking about.
It reminds me of, Jeff, is like when this has happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to you. You will be dancing to a new song, and then somebody a little older than you will be like, oh, that song was back when I was growing up. You'd be like, what? They'd be like, yeah. So you're like, oh, that's a sample?
Yep.
So what was a hit before, will be a hit now. So my point is that so many times these songs they sample, they know the formula.
Absolutely.
They know the formula. They know what worked before will work again. So you can't tell me they can't do that with the artists themselves. I mean, I think more now than ever, it's so many rappers. You don't know how many rappers. There's
way too many.
How many? I've never seen so many rappers. And just like Method Man said, they have money now too. Like when Method Man and them was hot in the 90s, they wasn't making money like this. It's crazy. It's so many rappers. It's oversaturated.
Absolutely.
And a lot of them sound alike. And a lot of the times the people in the music industry, they'll say to you, you have talent, you sound good, but people aren't going to listen to that. When you're talking good talk and you're not all about the violence and misogyny, they'll say to you, you got talent, but I don't know if I can do anything with this. I've heard that a couple of times.
Absolutely. Once again, we're talking to Kera Dangerous of Kera Dangerous Live, Kera Dangerous Talk. You can follow her on Instagram at Kera Dangerous. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe.
Me, not to interrupt you, but follow me especially on my YouTube channel. That's where all the shows are going down at Kera Dangerous Talk. And like he said, I got a couple of shows. I go with Kera Dangerous Live right now. Kera Dangerous Talk will be coming back, and I have a brand new show, Kera Dangerous Outside, coming. Really gonna love it. One-on-one interviews in person. Really
That's awesome. That's awesome. And one other thing that Kera Dangerous does is she makes merch. And one of these pieces of merch is I'll let you explain this piece of merch right now, Kera. What was the inspiration behind the No Coonin merch?
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up because I forgot to bring the shirt out here with me. There it is. It's $25 plus shipping. I mean, I think it speaks for itself. I actually say no raccooning because on these social media sites ban Black creators. So I have to say no raccooning, but we all get what I'm saying here. So it's just I tell everybody, join the anti-raccooning movement, okay? Because we need more people that are Black and proud and unapologetic about it. So Absolutely. We're just saying no to cooning. Cooning is a verb. It's the way I'm using it. Stop the cooning. Be yourself. Be confident. Keep your head up and be proud to be Black, baby.
Now, was there a specific incident or maybe one or two that kind of just got in your skin, made your blood boil and made you say, man, I gotta put this out now. Like I can't keep seeing these people doing these kind of things, what were those kind of things that made you say, I got to make something that lets you know what I represent and what you should represent, especially if you are a black person?
Oh, goodness. That's a very good question. And I don't even think I thought about it like that. I mean, so many instances throughout my life. I mean, if you're a pro-black person, you see it all the time. It's funny because I don't have one that just pops to mind, but it's like I'm seeing raccoons on TV. I'm seeing raccoons when I go to work. I'm seeing raccoons like, when I step outside. If I go for a walk, a raccoon just pop out of the woods. I'm scared. I'm frightened. I don't want to catch that disease. Raccoons spread some real dangerous illness. Damn, I can't speak right now.
It's all good. Yes, ma'am.
And you definitely want to stay away. So, I just can't stand people who aren't proud to be brown, because when you know your history, you're happy to be black. That's it. I was taught my history from an early age, and I'm very proud. And I have to say, a lot of times people want you to feel bad for being proud. It's just like, oh, it's something wrong with that. I had somebody tell me a long time ago, why are you so militant? And I'm like, militant because I'm happy to be who I am. Give me a break. I never seen people before attack any other race for just being happy for who they are.
Absolutely. Being proud to put their people, their race first.
Yes.
We see it all. We see white people all the time put themselves first. Hell, they'll pretend like they putting you first and make sure that the white man comes through and puts himself first. So yeah, like that. I think that goes back to people call it like slave mentality. I think honestly, it is kind of a brainwashing thing. You are being brainwashed to think that white people are superior. You're being brainwashed to think black people are more negative, more bad, and everything since the day you are born. Since the day you were born. And I think that if the people aren't educating themselves, or if their parents aren't educating them, or if they just comfortable at where they're at, they unfortunately, some of them become those raccoons that you speak of. Yeah. Well, Kera Dangerous, I appreciate you coming through. I know you got some big things later tonight. Just tell the people about your next guest. I know you have a guest that's supposed to come in and speak to you today. Talk about what he's going to be talking about and tell them where they can find that episode.
Well, first off, I have to say, if you like that anti-cooning shirt, hopefully by the end of next week, I'll have my Christmas shirt out. I won't tell you what's going to be on it, but it's going to be a great shirt, and you're going to want to have it. So make sure you check out all the merch that's going to be on KeraDangerousTalk.com. Okay, as far as the show tonight, an exclusive with Bill Cosby spokesman Andrew Wyatt. Okay, you all know Vlad TV. And he had an interview with the comedian Faison Love, who loves to talk, blah, 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 blah. But it's just clip where they're basically going in on Andrew Wyatt. And I'm going to have Andrew Wyatt respond to those comments that were made. So it should be really good. And you can come over to the Kera Dangerous Talk YouTube channel and check that out. We're going live at 7:00 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely. Once again, we're talking to Kera Dangerous of Kera Dangerous Talk. She's got Andrew Wyatt, head representative of Bill Cosby, coming on her show tonight. So be sure to go over to the Kera Dangerous Talk YouTube page. Kera, thank you so much for joining me tonight. We will talk to you next time. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.